Ladies and gents, my name is Xander, aka Deislayers, and in this video I want to go into an in-depth analysis on how to use hand cannons. Now you might be asking yourself, why hand cannons and why now to make this video? Well, that's a great question, and the answer is because in this month of February 2017, Bungie's going to be coming out with a massive buff and or nerf to the current guns that are the meta, such as shotguns and also high rate of fire pulse rifles. So I think that also means that they're going to give a buff to auto rifles and hand cannons, and that's why I want to go into an in-depth analysis on how to use hand cannons properly. Now before we go any further in the video, for those of you guys who are new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as hit that notifications button just so that you guys don't miss out on anything else that's new in the future. Now with that being said, let's jump on right into the video. Crucible tip number 1 is shot timing / shot rhythm. Now what exactly do I mean by this? Well, every single type of hand cannon has its own unique archetype, and within that archetype is its own rate of fire. But now you have the Deislayers and you have the Palindrome, right? They're in the same archetype, but they do not have the same shot rhythm. And Deislayers might have a shot rhythm of something similar to this, where it's pop, 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 whereas a Palindrome might have a shot rhythm of pop, 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 pop. Right? You get what I'm talking about. Shot rhythm is not the same as rate of fire. So from one gun to the next, you guys need to master that shot rhythm, even if they have the exact same archetype, because it's going to be different for every single gun. Now, if you want to master that a little bit even further, you can apply a technique that I like to call resetting your shots. So what that is you take a shot, you wait for your red dot to be into the exact same spot as what it was previously before you take your second shot. So it's shoot, reset, shoot, reset, shoot, reset. If you guys can do that, you're going to consistently hit your shots more accurately and more consistently. And furthermore, what that does is it actually prevents you from hitting what we all hate and despise, and that is ghost bullets or the bloom effect. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, ghost bullets and the bloom effect is when we perceive to shoot bullets, but for some reason they don't hit the target, even though we think that they actually do hit the target. And I can guarantee you that the reason that this is happening is because you're not allowing your shots to be reset. In actuality, what's happening is that you're shooting too soon before that red dot is actually in the exact same spot as what it was previously. Again, if you can master this ability, you are going to be able to master your shot rhythm 100%, and you will kill a lot more Guardians more consistently. Crucible tip number 2 is recoil pattern and how to compensate for it. So now we're going to a private match on Bannerfall going up against a wall right here so that I can show you guys the recoil patterns of all my legendary types of hand cannons, at least the ones that I like to use, such as the Deislayers, the Palindrome, the Lordhead Fixer. But in addition to that, I'm also showing you guys the recoil patterns of the Hawkmoon, the Thorn, and the Last Word for the exotic types of primaries, at least the ones that I like to use again. Now what I also want you guys to notice here is not just the recoil patterns of all these guns, but notice the bullet trajectories if you don't compensate for that recoil pattern. It's constantly going to the up or it's constantly going to the right, which shows that we're going to be missing our shots if we're not compensating for that. So let's say, for example, that we're in the Crucible now, right, and we're going up into a gun battle, and we notice that, hey, we're missing our shots. It's probably because of one of two things. Either you don't have the shot rhythm, which we've already discussed, or number 2, you don't have the recoil pattern down. So you guys really need to master that, and how you can adjust for that is very, very simple. Just go into a private match just like this, and notice whether or not you're going to the right, up and to the right, or directly up, or whatever, and then compensate for that by using your joystick to go down to the left, at least some which way and or form. If you guys can do that, I can guarantee you you're definitely going to be hitting a lot more of your shots in the Crucible and crushing and making a lot of Guardians very salty. Crucible tip number 3 is movement. Now there's something that I want you to never ever do in the Crucible, guys, and that is to stand still. Do one of 3 things, either strafe, slide, or get vertical. Now what exactly is strafing? Well, it's that side-to-side lateral movement that we all do when we're in a gunfight and we're trying to avoid bullets while at the same time putting damage on the other person. That is technically strafing. So if you're already doing that, then you have one huge up on everybody else in the Crucible, and if you have a hand cannon in your hands, even better. Now on top of that though, I want you guys to all slide everywhere. Now why do I suggest sliding? Well, sliding does one of 2 things. The first one is that it makes you a hard target to hit if you're in the crouching position or if you're in the sliding mechanism, and that's always a plus, right? But then on top of that, what it does is it actually takes you off radar while you're in the sliding mechanism. Now let's think about that for one quick second. If I'm going off radar and I'm coming around a corner for 1 split second, then that means that other Guardian has no idea where I am, and I can take advantage of that and crush him before he even knows what happened to him. So definitely slide everywhere, and make sure that you guys have on the memory of shoulder, as it resets that cooldown time for that sprint mechanism, thus resetting the cooldown down for more sprints. Now in addition to that, if you're not doing the strafing, if you're not sliding, then go ahead and get vertical. So go around a corner every once in a while and jump in the air, or slide and then jump into the air, right? As that gives you an additional dimension of some other direction for the other person to not know where you are and make you a much more difficult target to hit. So if you can apply strafing, sliding, and verticality all together within one movement mechanism, you guys are going to crush it in the Crucible and make a lot of Guardians very, very pissed. Crucible tip number 4 is knowing hand cannon's strengths and their weaknesses. Now their main primary strength is the fact that they have the fastest time to kill out of any other primary in the entire game. If you get the right rule on a particular legendary hand cannon, you can literally kill somebody in half a freaking second. No other primary can do that, period. Now on top of that though, they also have sometimes some 12 shots in the magazine. So what that means is that you can get literally 4 Guardian kills within that one magazine size, not having to reload at all. No other primary gun can once again do that. So that's what makes these guns so freaking powerful, is the fact that they have the fastest time to kill and their magazine size. Now their weakness, unfortunately, is the fact that they don't have very good range or stability. Now let me talk about range first, and the fact that range is such an important thing because there's a huge correlation between damage and range. Obviously, the closer that you are to somebody, the more damage that you're going to do, and then the further that person is away, the less damage that you're going to do on top of that. Now, for example, say that you have a hand cannon though that has maxed out range stats. What that allows you to do is have a larger distance where you can do the maximum output of damage while still getting a headshot. So that's really, really important to note. You guys want to try and find a hand cannon that has really high range so that you can get that maximum output of damage with a greater distance between you, and thus have a larger likely to kill that individual. Now, the one other thing I want to talk about is stability, and the fact is that stability isn't quite as important because you can get around that and just get used to the hand cannon with that type of recoil rate. But if you want to have a high stability hand cannon, you can also have that and not to worry too much about range, because the wonderful thing about Destiny is the fact that there's so many maps where you have smaller close quarters, or at least medium quarters, where you can still have a high damage output with having low range and having max stability, so that gun is an absolute laser. Overall, just think about those things when you're thinking about hand cannons and know their strengths and their weaknesses. If you do, you're going to be crushing it in the Crucible. Crucible tip number 5 is map awareness / getting the first shot. Now, you might be asking yourself, why do these things correlate together? And the simple fact is that with hand cannons, if you guys don't get that very first bullet on the other Guardian, you're most likely going to die first, right? So it's very, very vital to get that first shot on them before they do. Now, in order to do that, you have to have map awareness. Now, what does map awareness entail? It entails knowing the map like it's the back of your hand, okay? So you need to know the exact Crucible lanes where these people are going to be coming from, or at least the most likely lanes that they're going to be coming from. You also need to know the camping spots where people are going to be sitting in corners and crouching, and then you also need to know where your teammates are at all times, because what that means is that wherever they are, that means that your opponents are not. So you can kind of cross that off on the overall Crucible map if you kind of have an overall idea of where the map is and where it's laid out. So knowing map awareness will allow you to get that first shot with hand cannons, and then allow you to get the ultimate kill. So if you guys can correlate those two things together with the map awareness and getting the first shot, I can guarantee you that the Crucible will be yours and you will be the ultimate king. One more thing that I want to say about all this, guys, is the fact that if you notice in the background, I've been using different game footage from different types of legendary hand cannons and different types of exotic hand cannons as well. I've used the IS Luna, the Palindrome, the Lord High Fixer, the Hawkmoon, the Thorn, and the Lessword to show you guys that these tips really do work and they help you crush in the Crucible. It doesn't matter if you're playing Rumble, if you're playing Clash, or if you're playing Trials of Osiris, the same principles apply to every type of game type. So, just as a quick reminder, I want to go over the 5 tips again, and they are: number 1, shot timing / shot rhythm; number 2, recoil pattern; number 3, movement; number 4, strengths and weaknesses; and number 5, map awareness. If you apply all 5 of these things, I can guarantee you that you're going to be crushing it in the Crucible and calling Ramrod and a bunch of these Guardians, making them a little bit salty. But let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below, and also if you want to see any other types of videos like this, for example like how to play with pulse rifles or anything like that. And lastly, go ahead and check out some of my other new vids, as you might find them a little bit fun and entertaining. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys right now, and as always, Deislayers, great gaming, until next time.